To me, intelligence is knowing all things while not people-pleasing. People-pleasers have said while crying with excitement. Look at me, I got a college education. I achieved it on my own. Are you proud of me? Ha, ha, ha. Is knowing everything taught in class intelligence or common sense? While everyone is learning the same thing. Is gaining what little information you can keep while everyone learns this same thing making you any more unique? Or is it making you conditioned while having no individuality? Are you any more intelligent than God? While not knowing all things. No one is any smarter than anyone else knowing what everyone in the class does. What they teach these days is common knowledge. While I would not spend a dime on what little they know. I love God as He is all-knowing. Therefore, I learn from God by acknowledging His thoughts within me. I may not know as much as He does. However, am willing to wait for Him to reveal as much as He offers. I know with God it is a need-to-know basis. While I do not question Him why I do not know something, I just accept if He needs me to know. He will tell me. While I am aware I do not need to seek knowledge on my own. I am content with waiting. God knows all things and teaches me without condition. I never need to pay Him to learn from Him. While people have debt all their lives for learning commonly, I have no debt with God. Ha, ha, ha. No one knows all things, but God. To me, teach me what no one knows so I can be smarter. Rather than teaching me what everyone is learning. So, I become commonly stupid. Teach me what does not exist yet, so I am smarter than the teacher who teaches commonly. To me, intelligence is not common knowledge. To me, common knowledge is without individuality and uniqueness. Without original thought in form. To me, God is the source of intelligence. No matter what anyone knows, as thought has become common knowledge. The source is more intelligent than the creation which is commonly taught. Therefore, I do not care to know what everyone does while a teacher teaches commonly. Never, teach me commonly as commonly known information is without intelligent creativity. Creativity makes things exist not having been before. Realism uses what already does. Believing it is intelligent is a form of ignorance toward God who created it. Everything God created He can make better than before. However, can destroy what was before as to never have existed. What is common is not smarter than anyone else. Who are you fooling? Intelligence is an original innovation, not common ideas. Intelligence is creating out of nothing. There is no fun in thinking the way others do. For me, my thoughts are realistically created out of imagination and are recreated through what I see in my environment. Then through these vivid thoughts I develop innovative ideas or ways of thinking, new perspectives. In the center of the brain lies the amygdala. With autism, the amygdala creates, processes, and controls the creation of these visual images. While drawing vivid perspectives, new thoughts with how it should be done. The amygdala also controls the process of discernment. Both good and bad, vivid thoughts or emotions are evaluated by a process of reasoning. With me, these images can be fearful at times. Yet not all the time. I can also draw my attention away from fear as I think and speak the words of truth. To be innovative makes us happy and confidently hopeful, while removing the thought of fear as they flee from forming ideas or new conclusions that cause worry. I like ideas that resolve challenges either I face or someone else's. In ways this is a good thing. What makes me mad is that most mental health drugs I had been on prior shuts off creativity, vivid thoughts, and this is how I learn and process thought. How I socialize, focus, respond, understand what I am learning. Positive behaviors can arise in my response if only given an opportunity to show a confident mind through allowing me to fight these fears as I believe loving words over fearful ideas. Having a creative epiphany distracts my mind while filling it with meaningful reasons to be confident in things God says will be better in time. As I trust God's word is true, I develop courage while God helps me by casting out fear, while providing good thoughts that overcome what is not true. First, we have positive or negative thoughts directed by our conscious wills, conscious, spirit, God's, the devil, our own understanding. While those thoughts we develop attempt to correct us, an immediate emotional feeling about the type of thought occurs. Then through emotions our brain creates motivation or desire to respond. Mine is based not on emotion first, but through vivid thought I feel emotion. I then have two choices to make. I say what I am thinking, or I act on what I think vividly. Emotion is not a chemical concern, but desire is. Emotions are a good thing. They are a part of human nature. These drugs are chemical based, but emotion is not. These emotions are a direct response to thought, not the other way around. Thought is spiritual, affecting the body's response, just as the body's response affects spiritual approval or denial. Discernment can either allow us to believe or force us to believe. As spiritual things pass by our soul, desire is sensory-based while emotion is thought-based. Emotion is a direct response to either positive or negative thinking first. When we have an ability to process both, we have a proper dynamic balance of discernment. However, holding bad in place removes awareness of good. We make decisions based on the one now in control as one cannot redirect our decisions. With bad in control, God could not redirect me to think wisely as his thoughts were withheld. Which part of the brain becomes more dominant as far as developing our beliefs or character is decided by a choice of habit, acknowledged thoughts, spiritually acknowledged discernments. Although this can be the responsibility of the individual, withholding choice allows the other control. These drugs given by mental health stop this discernment in the mind from occurring. The reason or cause of this is on withholding loving guidance, God, who would redirect us not to molest a child. However, these drugs stop the occurrence receiving thought as an awareness of an epiphany. Therefore, as God offers us another way, we never receive it as it is withheld from forming an alternative. What would allow the heart to do while sending a signal to the brain does not form awareness of good decisions, resulting in an inability to care while not empathizing. Now results in an inability to care about anything other than self-centered goals. Therefore, the mind can only acknowledge unhealthy habits. In this case, bad thoughts dominate us, while withholding control of one and not the other. Being these drugs are meant to hold the attention of the patient in place, spellbinding. These drugs hold on to bad thoughts while ending a thought to resist. Therefore, holding in place unwise decisions is the only choice. While focus and visual attention traps the individual in sin while they cannot resist sex with a child. Therefore, although men are spiritually and physically preconditioned to think and feel sexually attracted toward children, while not forming both good and bad decisions. We are not deciding to molest children. We must be able to form both to have a choice. While good thoughts are restricted, only bad can form while dominating a decision. To control someone like this is to cause them to continue molesting children, while an unwise decision is in domination over the person while they are without another option. Spellbinding, adjective and verb. Holding the complete attention of someone as though by magic, fascinate. To completely hold the attention of someone as though by magic, fascinating. To hold the attention of the individual or their focus on pedophilia equals intention of thought, response, and control of choice. Means a person has no other way as they decide to sexually abuse innocents while they cannot lose focus nor attention to have an alternative thought that would lead them away from this decision. These controlled habits give the devil control of the individual. These habits are a personal choice, although they can be learned as we choose who our friends are. People who come our way in life torment us. Who we have chosen not to be friends with can also teach us the same behaviors, by how they respond to us. These choices become the responsibility of the other person. The responsibility of guided responses. However, I recognize it when people try to control another person's choices. The person they are trying to control responds negatively. The person needs to make their own decisions. However, others are trying to control theirs instead of their own. When people are prone to doing so, this shows neither one has particularly good judge of character. This attempt makes them agitated, especially when the person responds forcefully and persistently, whether it be word or action. Having the ability to change these habits is dependent on being able to choose and think for yourself. To be self-aware of the consequences. Proper dynamic balance of discernments. However, in my case the medications given to me controlled my attention to visual images, ones that led to arousal. By allowing this controlled focus, mental health caused my arousal. Therefore, people like me who were in my case affected this way, cannot change their response. Therefore, thought or feeling is controlled, not under personal control. Is changed to a drug's control, not personally changed. Is modified, not altered by choice and optional focus, to choose to put your attention on more important topics. Meaning these drugs work to replace the occurrence of good or bad thoughts. An overwhelming number of psychologists believe these drugs work for good to replace psychotic thoughts, bad ones. However, if the person given these drugs has been diagnosed incorrectly, the treatment of what type of medication is possible in treating the psychosis can be in question as replacing thought not intended. This means instead of replacing the bad thoughts and emotions, you end up replacing the good ones. Therefore, the intention of the individual being treated becomes one of impairment in proper judgment. Therefore, their focus on their positive thoughts or feelings is overpowered by the negative, as good options are withheld, and bad ones held in place. Therefore, the person on the medications cannot control a stereotypical response, while decisions are overpowered as a drug controls them. Therefore, an altered focus and change in thinking results in a continued act of pedophilia. As I had my medication and diagnosis changed, This action of involving someone else never took place again, and never will. Getting wisdom, what I have learned. Note, from the author, A Reason of Defense, MJV. People on these drugs do not understand nor acknowledge. Being aware of reasonable wisdom. To not give a response is to control your own. When both sides want to believe in their own thing no matter what everyone says they believe, even when either party is logical, to step back and allow the other person to continue their attack is wiser than giving them a possibility to respond to you. By doing this we give them control of us. We all have a right to our opinions. A right to tell our story from our point of view. Whether our opinions are acknowledged or not, it is not in our control to change their mind. However, if we do not fight for our voice, are we fighting for others? Sometimes our experiences have similarities with others. 2. Not voice yours out of fear of what others may think. Means you are not willing to fight for yourself, even other people, even what is right. For me, I am willing to put up a fight. For myself, and moreover for my victims and those who have experienced the same as me. Whether people share experiences with me or not, I acknowledge if I have experienced what I have, surely others have similarities with mine. The question is not whether they acknowledge them. The question is why not. In this case, can one figure out the cause of why by acknowledging the need for medication? No. 4. The cause of confusion is these medications. The question we need to ask ourselves, is this a case of responsibility of a defendant's actions alone? Or is mental health also responsible for impairing our judgment? Moreover, this is not a question of, is the person taking their meds? The question is still, is the person on the right one? One individual voice has a different belief and opinion than the other. However, personal experience is more dependable. Moreover, this truth does not mean one is wrong and not right. In this case, can anyone argue a proper defense? No. This gives reason to let go of their pain and do the right thing. Moreover, it is clear the accuser has not realized this. However, the focus of the defendant is to acknowledge his wrongs. To let go. Move on and apologize for my actions. It is also my intention to explain why my treatment was mistakenly misunderstood. Therefore, the cause of my actions. Not, with denial of action do I acknowledge wrongdoing. However, with cause. The issue is trust of opinion. I realize my accuser may not believe my action was due to an inability to be clear on how I could affect them, to empathize. However, I now do. I understand why they hold on to their pain. I was in the same position. The truth of our experiences, though different, do display similarities. At a point in my life, I hated what was done to me. To me, what was done through being forcefully drugged led to my crime. I realized if I had been accurately diagnosed and treated, I would have made better choices. I never would have acted in the light I did. Yes, to me the choice of treatment was the wrong one, for years. I understood choice played a role in my actions. Yet my accuser refuses to forgive. Even, as I ask. The truth of why our pain stays, is still truthful on both sides. We all have experienced life differently. Our choices might be different. However, to voice our experiences truthfully, without a credit for being honest, can either help someone see a unique perspective depending upon doubt or trust of opinion. Neither is this choice of trusting these opinions in the hands of either party. It is in the hands of God, the outcome. He, and He alone knows the heart. What the heart wants it does not always get. It is important to accept our needs over our wants. Even when we need forgiveness. What is important is God's mercy being at the forefront of our minds. Whether we trust we have been, is not for our accuser to question. This is for God to judge. The one who turns the heart from stone to one of innocent purity, honesty, and open trust. That His ways do not condemn us. However, love us. Therefore, no matter what was done. The reason for it. God loves the sinner. We may not understand why. However, this is not a reason to not do the same. If they focus more on the pain questioning, why? How can they ever forgive? Even when the defendant gives an answer, there's doubts. Therefore, I let go, putting my full trust in God, that someday they may find peace in God's grace. This is a reason to let go. Through our trials and pain, we might find strength to give God control, if only we decide to, allowing Him to heal us through His love. However, our choice to hold on to hate never changes the condition of someone's heart. It only causes one to hold on to the pain. However, love, pure love addresses our conscience. While we understand our struggle to forgive is hard, yet God has patience with us, while gently guiding us to wait on Him to deal with those who have caused our pain. What has happened to each of us has different events, causes, and outcomes. To trust God's opinion over our own is to trust truth. Therefore, by questioning one's own experiences is a lie. Are we not basing our doubts off their experiences? While only believing in our own experiences may be different. However, so are theirs. However, do we honestly believe they lie? As if we can prove they did not go through what they did? Our judgments are always difficult. We are not always correct. It is wise to let the other person know you acknowledge their opinion, even though you understand yours is not theirs. This way of thinking needs a different approach or outlook in what we believe about the person. Therefore, our choice must reflect acceptance regardless of opinion. With this choice we have won the argument. How can one put a question mark on a defense having no response to question? When you choose to believe them, can they question your experiences as a lie? No, you have given them no ability to question yours with doubt. However, from my experience I cannot control them doubting. When we control our voice, by keeping silent we do not give them a choice to control ours. However, when we do speak, we are giving them control, by giving them a reason to respond, doubtfully. This is love when we choose to believe the person, no matter if our experiences are not the same. This judgment of the person should be in question, not the experience of the person. When we experience life events differently, we tell the truth, regardless of differences of experience. Just because our experiences are different does not mean one's lying and one's not. It means both of us are correct and honest, while finding reasons to be concerned for one another. Therefore, why argue? However, most will. Why? Ignorance of opinion. By me not speaking, They get caught in the trap of their own lying tongue. In an argument, most end up lying. This approach traps them in their own words, making something appear worse than it really is in a belief that people around them know is not true. However, if you choose to keep silent, can you be seen as lying? No. You are not giving them a reason to question your opinions. Moreover, your non-response puts their focus on proving theirs to others. Moreover, they end up trying to persuade others to believe them by creative theories, false accusations, beliefs of guilt, untrue perspectives of evidence, while adding misleading explanations regarding you. They are led to arguments with people regarding you being guilty, while people involved never know your heart. This becomes their only way to discredit what was done to you, as though what does not matter more than what you did. To get you to respond while saying things that hurt you as you know they are not true, while not liking their lies about you. These lies are used to put fear in you, persuading you to defend yourself instead of allowing God to control defending you. This is only done to make you look even worse than what was really done. People do this while they are either losing the argument or they are not getting a response. While you are led to get defensive, they feed off it. This is done to trap you into responding. However, if you are wise, you will choose not to respond. While giving God control requires not saying anything. While we are trusting God to control the outcome by not responding, we are giving God control to address their conscience. No matter how difficult it is to decide this way, the best thing to do is walk away, even though you do not know if they will become violent. This approach can make them look foolish. Moreover, if they continue attacking you, you should never respond back. The greatest gift God gave us as His creation is the will to resist. How does this look to others around them? Like they are ridiculous. The conscience of the person will understand no one believes them, what they are saying about you, since you have chosen this path. Control now belongs to you as God supplies courage to walk away. Therefore, they become fearful to even continue arguing with you, while focus is now on them. Their fear traps them in their own words, not yours. Remember, this is what Jesus did when Pontius Pilate and the Jewish elders made false claims or accusations about Jesus when questioned if he was the Christ. He kept silent when accusations arose. Therefore, he kept control by controlling his tongue. He also questioned them instead of answering their question, addressing their conscience by accepting they already knew. When the time was right, he spoke. This was to get them to think for themselves. He understood their conscience would get the best of them. To compel a person to change their response by the same response given back only continues to intensify the agitation between both parties. However, controlling your response means you are in control. People only try to take back control when this happens. The way they do becomes negative. They have a lack of control over their response. It is obvious no one's in control when both are fighting each other for it. It is human nature to be defensive. While this can change if the other person can show an example, they have changed theirs. This is the right of the person to feel this way. No one has the right to question a person's response, except their own. However, most would challenge this anyway. It is the right of the person to choose for oneself which thought and emotion you adhere to. This is based on proper discernment, filtering of thoughts and emotions. States of reaction to thoughts can be rearranged in the mind. While reasoning with what is being said depends on which thought and emotion you choose to acknowledge and respond to. You can have good and bad interests. Either side of the brain can become more dominant by choice of acknowledgments. This means the choice of which side of the mind you acknowledge more often gains more power to control your decision every time you do. If your negative thoughts come from the right side of the mind, you are an ideal reasoner. Therefore, your left side is more dominant as your left side thinks creatively. The left side of the mind is where positive thoughts are found and occur in me. Therefore, if this is more dominating, you make better decisions in your response. If the negative thoughts come from your left side of your brain, then you are more conscious of what others know or understand as you are ideal in thought. While only believing what you see as reality, realism makes you dependent on others' perspectives to learn. With autism, this is the opposite. For me, if I see something in my environment and the detail of it interests me, I begin to think creatively about it. My mind goes into imagination mode vividly, creating what I could change about it, while believing I can make it better than it is. Although these inner thoughts play a role in my ideas, it only takes a short flash of a video clip to spark a new perspective on what I have seen. Knowing someone creative can improve what has already been created. Therefore, if you are creative, you do not need anyone to teach you. Your creativity is your success.